So I want to start with the positive, and I feel like the one and only positive of the LSU football team this year has been the offense. Very improved from last season, although last year they were still really solid. They averaged 34.5 points per game one season ago, and in the games where the offense needed to produce, they certainly did that in like the Alabama game and ones like that, Ole Miss as well, last year, not this year. So why is the offense better this season? What has led to the improvements? Is it positional players? Is it position units? Is it the scheme? Well, I think it's a mix of a lot of different things. You have a lot of veterans coming back from last year's team, and then you added some pieces in via the transfer portal that had started before. So something Brian Kelly talked about in his press conference this week was the fact that the offense has a lot more experience than the defense. He said that every guy on the offense that starts has started before coming into this season, whether it be, a spot start here and there or they started at their previous school. You get the picture. But what specifically has led to this explosion that we've seen so far this season that we hope will continue? Well, let's start with the wide receiver unit, because I think it's been the passing game that has really been surprising for me. And a guy that we've talked about many times, you should have this name in the back of your head, Brian Thomas. He has been massive this year for LSU. At times, I want to call him wide receiver 2, but there's been instances this year, I think he's led the Tigers in receiving in 3 of the 5 games so far, if I'm not mistaken. At least he's been right there with Malik Neighbors, Batman and Robin. Who's Batman, who's Robin? I'll leave that up to you. But those two have been excellent. For Thomas, the difference has been he's living up to that high billing he had coming out of high school. He was a borderline 5-star recruit, but at least a very high 4-star, and those guys are supposed to have great college careers and go on and have an NFL career as well, and he's certainly trending in that direction right now. He hadn't topped 400 receiving yards in any of the prior 2 seasons he'd played at LSU, and he'd get maybe 2 catches a game for 30 yards. Like, he wouldn't really be that big of a factor in the offense, but he has been this year. 5 or more catches in every game. He's had 3 different 100-yard receiving games, and he's got 8 touchdowns this season, already more than he had last year. For his career, he's got 12, so he's on pace to surpass all of his numbers combined between 2021 and 2022 in one season. So he's really stepped up for this unit, and I think just allowed Jayden Daniels and really the whole passing offense structure to have that downfield threat that I think they lacked last year. So Brian Thomas has been a big difference maker. And then I think Malik Neighbors has just added more to his toolbox as well. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. He's already got 40 catches for over 600 yards, and we're not even halfway through the season. So he's on pace to surpass all of that this year. And I think it's because he's shown more of an ability, maybe it's because he's had more opportunity, to win one-on-one balls, to go up, use his hand-eye coordination, his athleticism to come down with those 50-50 balls that he really turns into 100-0, because Malik Neighbors more often than not comes down with those available footballs, and those jump balls like that. And he really reminds me a lot of Jamar Chase, a guy that can catch a pass anywhere on the field, and if he gets into open space, can take it the distance. Maybe it's an unfair comparison because both guys are really talented. They should be talked about in their own respects. But the type of receiver he is, just immediately I think of Jamar Chase. He'll catch a 10-yard route to convert on a 3rd down and move the sticks. The same way he'll also burn a corner for a 70-yard fly route down the sideline. And it just takes a good quarterback to unlock all of that. And, well, they have one this year in Jayden Daniels. Now, as far as the running backs go, it's been one running back really all year. It's Logan Diggs. I said in the offseason, I compared last year's running back room to the snack drawer. Remember, with the chips, but too many snacks is a bad thing, if you're trying to have a good diet. So pick one running back and roll him. Stick with him all year long. And Logan Diggs has been that guy. Last year, LSU's leading rusher was actually Jayden Daniels, who gained over 1,100 yards. Now, net yardage was at 885, still really good. This year, Diggs leading the team in rushing on 57 carries. He's averaging over 6 yards per carry. Mind you, he missed a game and a half or so at the beginning of the season there. Didn't play against Florida State, didn't play much against Grambling State, and has 3 touchdowns. Last year, remember, it was a 3-man rotation. Emery, Williams, Kane. This year, it's all been Logan Diggs, and he is the full package back. So that's been a big difference as well. So really, it's Jayden Daniels having more weapons at his disposal, I think. Like, he's always had the ability to throw that deep ball. We saw it in the Arizona State-Oregon game. I remember watching that game in 2019 when Arizona State upset Justin Herbert and the Ducks. They clinched that win with a Jayden Daniels deep ball, and he had Brandon Ayuk, NFL receiver, Frank Darby, NFL receiver, and then Eno Benjamin, a running back, who also made it to the NFL on that Arizona State team. So he's now got more of that talent combined with a more aggressive schematic approach. That's why we're seeing this offense produce like it is. And real quickly, that offensive line deserves some love as well. Last year, they had a lot of different combinations early in the year. They had some injuries as well. It's been the same five for the most part this year. They've got some depth as well, and they've avoided those injuries, knock on wood, so far this season. And so far this year, they've allowed just 12 sacks versus 45 all of last year. So at that pace, they'll probably be around 30, if I had to guess, if LSU plays 7 or 8 more games. But they've been really good. They've protected well, and they've allowed this offense to play the way they have. And this LSU offense, I've said it before, I'll say it again, will give the Tigers an opportunity to win every game this year. The question is, can they get more from that defense? But that's why this unit is so much better. And really, again, they didn't have to improve that much. I mean, last year was solid, but this is why LSU is elite this year. All of those reasons right there.